Hello. Oh, I do not feel good right now. I feel depressed, heavy, unhappy, griefy. That's a feeling. I made it up. Griefy. Not sad, but just heavy and weighed down and confused as well. Like various different things in my life are sort of going weird. More weird than usual. My relationship side of my life is going weird. My friend side is starting to go weird as well. My work is strangely picking up. It's like I've been working on things for years and years and years, and now I finally have something to show for it. Like this, a mouse mat with one of my artworks on. I printed out two big posters of two of my artworks as well. The Ganesh piece and this piece, but the full version of it, not this is the truncated version. Good word, truncation. Truncated, yeah. So that's that. What else about my work? Well, I've just done so much this year. I have created so much this year. It's been the biggest year ever in terms of my actual output of stuff. I've written loads of books. I don't know how many I've written. Not full books, but I've written. I finished off the Psych Ward series. Even though every now and again I wonder, is it really complete or not? Well, it's complete for the moment, and I'm going to try and force it closed. Yeah, completed that. Wrote some segments of different books that I've put into a compilation book called The Orange Book, which is cool. What else have I done? I've written. Well, those are they're smaller books that I shoved into a bigger, fatter compilation. I swear I've done another one as well. Dictard, my blog, which I compiled a couple of my blogs and some other bits of smaller book type work into one compilation, which I called Dictard and Other Bits and Bobs. So I've done that. Started up a new channel on cocoscope.com, which is a place where I can actually get paid rather than on YouTube, where there is a potential for me to get ad revenue, which is not exactly the same as being directly paid through the platform. So Cocoscope is a platform that I can be directly paid on. So that's cool. And I've already got a tip on there, waiting one tip. Yeah, it's still early days on Cocoscope. I've realised that my views on my videos are pretty low, but then everyone's views on their videos are pretty low because there's not many users on there at the moment. It's still very early days. It only started up a month or so ago. So I think it just needs some time for more users to come on board for views and comments and tips and adopters to come in. Yeah. So I'm a bit kind of like, I'm not putting loads of energy into that at the moment because it's still kind of small. I don't want to like waste all my energy on the upfront. I'm just drip feeding videos from this channel, and then I'm going to probably drip feed videos from my other channels to that platform over time once I run out of videos on this channel. Anyway, so that's just where I am at the moment. I'm just a bit, I don't know, weighed down, depressed. I took a week off while my mum was away, not from videos but from doing my other work. I've just been, so this is my work, right? My work life has been about 5 years of not earning any money and not having any product that is ready for sale, because I've just been ploughing away at, firstly, I did a lot of kind of digging into myself to find things to talk about, to write about, to draw about, to create from. And I found that because I had a lot of issues in my past from the mental health stuff, which you know about now from these videos, because I had a lot of that stuff in the past, there wasn't, everything was really raw and really angry and really messy. So if I was trying to create stuff out of that, it was just not, I didn't think it was saleable. I didn't think that it was of a high quality because it wasn't really presentable work. It was just my own emotional process, which, okay, if I'm in the future some kind of revered artistic genius, then maybe those are the pieces that everyone goes, oh well, look at his early work or something. It's not even my early work. This is my middle work. My early work was actually better than the stuff I did, which is weird because I developed a really good style up until about the age of 28 or so, and then my parents got divorced, which threw my whole understanding of life into chaos. I also came off my antidepressant medications, which suddenly renewed my sense of feeling in my body, because my body and my emotions had been numbed out by those antidepressants. So I just got really angry, and I just had all these issues suddenly come up that had been buried by my family relationship. Was kind of a sort of smothering mechanism, if you like, a safety mechanism to hide and cover up lots of deeper insecurities and fears and anger. Yeah, anger. Oh, yeah. So it's been a bit of a hard few years. And now stuff is starting to come together, which it's been a long fucking time coming. Because now what's happening is my artwork has come to a place of good quality. My music has come to a place of. My music was always at a good place of good quality, but something was wrong inside me about it. Like I wasn't ready to do anything with it at that time. I mean, I'd gone through a phase where I really wanted to do stuff with it, back from the early days being in the band, where I wanted to succeed. Then that fell apart, and then I had a wave later on when I was in a band with my brother, and we wanted to succeed, and then that fell apart because of basically my relationship with my brother was strained at that time, and I decided, actually, no, not we decided, I decided that I didn't want to carry on at that time. Hopefully we'll get back together and get a band together when the time is right. I hope we will. I want to, and he wants to as well. But it's his situation. He's got family now. He's got a young child, so his child will be 3 years old. My nephew, 3 years old in December, late December. So he's got a lot on his plate at the moment with his wife as well. So he's got his own life there to deal with. So I think he will need to wait until their son is a little bit older, so he's slightly less demanding, before we can do stuff in the band. And he'd need to move closer as well, because he lives quite far away. And they do plan to move closer over the next couple of years. So I look forward to that. Then we can rehearse together. Have some practice time again. Yeah, so that's that. But yeah, I was trying to say actually that I'm starting to build up a whole load of products that I can actually sell. For example, the two particular artworks, this one in particular, is ready for marketing, merchandising, making into prints, making into posters, putting on t-shirts, anything really. Just it will fit with all sorts of different types of merchandising. So I'm starting to build up my brand. I've got the flame t-shirts as well. I don't have one on right now, but that's something that I can have as a marketing merchandising thing. So just bits and bobs are coming together. And my books, none of them are fully publisher worthy. Like, there needs to be some editing and some spell checks, but the bulk of everything content wise is there. So that's another line of products. I have songs. I've got a hell of a load of songs that I need to record so that I can have those as products. And then I've got ideas that I need to put into place and structure, which still aren't coming together. But there are ideas to run, for example, meditation groups. I don't want to do anything too pompous. I don't want to put myself in any kind of a superior teaching position. I just want to kind of get people around in a room, pay a small entrance fee to have that space to be there. I don't know, £5 or something for a session of an hour or hour and a half. Sit round in a circle, maybe £10. I don't know. Who knows what I'll charge them in the future. But yeah, £5-10. Okay, £5,000. No, 700. Okay, 35. I don't know. Some amount of money to come in just once a week, sit around in a circle in some chairs, and just do some meditation, basically. So really, people would just be paying for the space, as in the time and the space to just sit quietly, and probably I will do some guiding of the meditation. I don't want to do too much, but I'm assuming that people will want me to do guiding meditations. So yeah, but I'm kind of waiting for my own emotional health to get to a point where I feel like I can handle that, because I know that meditation brings about an intensity of a situation, so I just want to feel like I'm really, really, really firm in myself, in my ability. I mean, I know I can do it, but it's just like there could be stuff comes up in meditation, sometimes. So all I'll be wanting people to do is to just sit there and be quiet to themselves, and just and I would just sort of talk them through maybe a few body awareness exercises. But stuff comes up, people's emotions come up, people's pain comes up, because that's stuff that's there, and quite often we haven't been looking at our pain, and it's only when you get into a quiet space, when you're by yourself, in terms of you're able to feel what yourself is like, what your body is like. It's only then that you realize how much stress or anxiety or depression or whatever it is that has been going on, and you haven't even realized it. I mean, background that it's there, but you've never really faced it. So stuff like that can happen, and that can be difficult. And I don't know whether I'm ready to deal with being a presence, being there while people go through potentially big emotional stuff. So I don't know about that. But then on the other hand, it might just be because of the way that I structure and market the meditation sessions, that the people who show up, the overall tone of the meeting will be one of peace and support and calmness. So, I suppose it's up to me to set the tone of that. So, as I say, I'm obviously not quite sure and not ready about it yet. I've had the idea in my head for a few years now, and just nothing has ever really finally clicked. It's been about venue as well. Like, I know there are venues around that I could do it in, but nothing has really said, yes, this is the right place. So, and like whenever I've drawn out the marketing materials for it, I've always gone, yeah, I don't know. I've drawn up little flyers, and I've actually posted up a flyer one time. Nothing happened. I didn't really expect anything to happen, but I just felt personally that it wasn't the right time anyway. So I was like, okay, but that's something that's there. I feel like it is a calling to do that kind of work, to do that kind of spiritual teaching, or centering, grounding, helping people, maybe even healing type of stuff. Build a community of some sort, but I'm afraid of becoming an egomaniac, for one thing. I'm afraid of getting too invested in the teacher role as well. I'm just not ready for it. So I'll leave that for the moment until I'm ready. But there's another idea as well to do, which is talks about mental health stuff, which is going to fit in. I'm thinking that probably the way that I can the way that I promote myself is going to be a mixture of talking, music, artwork in the background. So basically a talk. I don't really know if it's going to be a seminar, but it's going to be a talk, because it's going to be about my story, and it's going to be about what I've learned through going through mental health difficulties, and then spirituality. And so it's going to be about that. So there's going to be an offering in terms of I'm going to offer my story to other people so that they can resonate with that. And then there are going to be things to take away. By take away, I mean buy. My books, my artwork, CDs of my music, flyers about my video channels. So it's like it's all fits together, if that makes sense. So it's going to be a holistic expression of who I am and what I have to offer. To do the talking, which is basically like me being on video, we'll have artwork showing on a slide thing in the background. There'll be original artwork available for sale, there'll be prints available for sale. There'll be my t-shirts available for sale. There'll be my books available for sale. There'll be my CDs available for sale. So it's just kind of like, here I am. This is what I do, and take some value from it and enjoy and whatever. So yeah. So that's how I'm going to market it. As in, it just all fits really nicely, you know, to be able to talk about my experiences in an educational and, well, I don't know what the right word is. Maybe even uplifting. It could be educational, uplifting, co-resonance, if that's a word. You know, if I share my story, other people can latch onto that, and they can experience some healing or understanding, a feeling of connection by me sharing what I've been through in an honest way, and in a way that, you know, sort of shows that you can get through these kinds of things, and that there's something to take from it, blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's all good. And it's been a long time coming for all of this stuff, because I feel like I've been working on these sorts of things, fumbling in the dark for about 5 years, not really knowing what the hell I'm moving towards, but knowing that I have to keep going. And I've just been working on stuff, and kind of like nothing was really cohering, nothing was being pulled together, you know, nothing was making full sense about, okay, well, how am I going to monetize this? How am I going to make this into a business? Because all the artwork I was doing was pants, if I'm honest with myself. It was pants. I wasn't happy with it, so therefore I wasn't going to sell it. Now I'm happy with it, so now I'm going to sell it. And then, yeah, so I just really, it's been a long time. It's taken me a long time to really be creating what I want to be creating, and also feeling like I have a way of bringing it together that I feel is right. And it's just like everything is starting to click into place, with things being finished, you know, pieces of work being finished that are ready as products to sell. And I'm like, so this is why I was doing it, you know, this makes sense. And all those times when I was kind of like, am I doing the right thing? You know, like, I'm not making any money. I don't know, where is the money going to come from in the future. What is my product going to be? I don't have any product, and I still don't have any product, and I still don't have any product, you know. And then, okay, this could be a product, but it's not finished yet, and it's taking ages to finish. And now I'm like, that's finished. These are products that can work, that do work. Okay. Man. And it's pretty much 5 years since I took the plunge out of my guitar teaching business and into this kind of unknown territory where I was trying to figure out a new way for myself. The first thing I did was busking, and I was doing my artwork while I was busking. So not literally while I was busking, right? I started my channel, my first serious YouTube channel, around this time 5 years ago, because it's nearly my birthday. It's my birthday tomorrow, and I just always remember it as being tied in with my birthday. Yeah, so I kind of quit my guitar teaching business because I wasn't happy with it anymore. I was feeling depressed on my way to work, honestly. I was just feeling like, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate teaching kids, honestly. And adults are flaky as fuck as well, so just I don't want to do it. I didn't want to be doing something that I felt I'd failed at as well. I mean, I felt like this is just my personal feeling about the teaching thing, my personal feeling about my personal teaching business, right? It might apply to others, but I don't want to offend anyone, basically. But yeah, my feeling was, I am teaching people to be successful at this thing, and I don't feel like I'm successful at this thing. My definition of success at that time was that my band should be earning money and making a living from my creativity. But I realized that for me, teaching was a sort of self-esteem killer, because while I was teaching, I felt like I was using my musical talents to teach other people rather than to do what I actually wanted to do, which was to be the doer of the thing rather than the teacher of the thing. You know, I wanted to be the person who was playing and singing live and earning the money from that, and that the teaching thing was not really me. The teaching thing was a secondary thing that I felt I had to do for money. So I took a big decision to quit that. And honestly, I didn't really know what the second thing was. I didn't have a backup plan. I did not have a fallback scenario. It was just like, look, I just know that this one is not right for me, so I have to stop. And my parents were like, what the fuck? And friends around me were a bit like, what the fuck? You know, why you don't have a backup plan? Like, normally people who quit one job have another one lined up, or they have at least an idea about what they're going to do. Are they going to go traveling? What they're going to do? You know, how are they going to support themselves? And also, what is the structure of their life going to be? Well, I didn't really have that. I mean, I just had this knowing that the guitar teaching business was not right for me. Also, around 5 years ago, actually in October 5 years ago, I had my last real job, as in working for a corporation or a company that was not run by myself. So my first employment, right? Not first, my last employment. And yeah, so it was around 5 years ago that I had a job at the Premier Inn in Slough, just down the road from my house. It's about 15 minutes, 20 minute walk. Just easy to get to. And I figured that I'd go back to my waitering work because I used to enjoy it. I was quite good at it before, as I've been mentioning in the videos about my time at the Outback Steakhouse. The Outback Steakhouse was one of my favourite, if not the favourite or best piece of work, or like time period of work in my life. I mean, Legoland was like, it was fine for what it was, but I didn't really enjoy it. But Outback, I genuinely enjoyed working there, apart from some of the issues that I have mentioned with the management and some of the dicks who worked there. But overall, for the 8 months I worked there, overall, 8 out of 10. It was a good job. I earned good money. As I understood it, I was enjoying the amount of money that I was earning. I had fun while I was doing it. It's a good sense of community. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed that job. So when it came to like this time 5 years ago, and I was like, it's actually this time October 5 years ago, October 2013, right? October the 10th, believe it or not, October the 9th and 10th were my last two shifts at a regular job of any type. Yeah. Well, I did like 1 or 2 days working for my mum's company, not her actual company, but the company she works for. But that was just ad hoc stuff that didn't really count. I wasn't employed. Okay, it was just some cash in hand stuff. So yeah, I count it as my last real job was 9th and 10th of October 2013. Because I'd been on job seekers for a while and disability living allowance. So this is all like coming off the end of being in the mental health thing. So I got on working tax credits and disability living allowance. But so when I came out of hospital, I was on probably just disability living allowance, and I started my guitar tuition business around that time after I came out of hospital in 2008. Late 2008, I began my guitar teaching business. And what else? I actually went back to work at Legoland. And I realised, oh my god, this is bad, because I'm not a teenager anymore. I was like 23 years old by that point. And everyone else was 16, 17, 18, 19. I was like, oh god. And so it's not about the age of the people, it's about the maturity and how they behave. So the people were immature, childish. I was depressed, and I was just around all these shallow teenagers, and they just weren't helping. There was one particular guy who started bullying me, or a couple of guys were bullying me. So I was so depressed that I couldn't even like think of any comebacks or fight back or stand up for myself or anything. So it was rubbish basically. I was already depressed, and then I got bullied as well, so it was rubbish. The reason I was depressed was because I'd just been through a series of really traumatic experiences, and that's the worst. Yeah, that's the most deepest depression I've ever been in, and longest lasting depression I've ever been in for my whole life. That took a long time to come out of. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just talking about the work stuff still. After I came out of hospital, I started on my guitar teaching business. I did work at Legoland first. There was a crossover period there, and actually, I quit Legoland around this time as well, November, before the season ended. In November, because it was too fucking cold, and I didn't want to be out in the freezing cold wearing all the layers that were possibly available and still being freezing fucking cold on my own as well, which I'd asked the manager, to make sure that I'm not alone on any photo booth thing, because I become suicidal when I'm alone for too long, and they was like, yeah, well, everyone else has to do it, so you have to do it too. So obviously I was not fit for that job. So I decided to quit, and I did quit. I think I just wrote a letter or an email, sent it in, and I just went, I'm not getting back in. That's bollocks to them. Yeah. Okay, anyway, so that was that. I also did like 3 weeks of a course in performing arts, because I was really like, I was trying to think, okay, what do I enjoy? What do I want to do with my life? I've kind of got a second chance. I've come out of hospital after going through this psychedelic trip, basically, this psychedelic spiritual adventure trip. And I've come back down to earth, and now I need to do something. And that was a major source of depression and concern and stress. I'm going to put my hands in my pockets again so that I don't itch my nose. And so I was like, oh, what do I want to do? And I'd remembered that, well, I like drama and singing, and yeah, and I thought maybe this is time for me to get back into acting and performing and stuff. Honestly, I can't remember what my reasons were for trying the performing arts course. I think I just went, eh. It's because East Berkshire College, the Langley College, which is the college nearest to me, they always send around their brochure, so I suppose I just leafed through it and found something that I was interested in and signed up to it. But again, similar sort of problem to Legoland, which was that all the people there were like 16, 17, 18. And I was like, well, yeah, I think I was 23 at that point. Oh, 22, 23. And there was an older person as well who was 25. Older woman, girl, lady, whatever. She was 25 doing it. And we were kind of the two older ones, and then all these like young'uns. I just felt really out of place. There was no restriction on the age, so we were allowed to go in. Oh god, at that age, it wasn't like it was only reserved for between 16 and 19. You were allowed to be any age, I think. But it just felt weird. It just felt out of place for me to be there with all these kids running around. It felt like going back to school, but not to like adult version of school, not like night school or whatever, or university. It felt like going back to, okay, like actual secondary school. I'm just in secondary school. I think I had the opinion to begin with that, okay, well, it might be more like older people doing it, but it wasn't older people. It was just college students, young college students. And I only really realised the difference in maturity levels between being 23 and having gone through a lot of shitty life experiences and being 16. and 17 and 18 when I did that. Because previously I thought, oh yeah, I'm still young. Yeah, but there is a significant maturity gap that I was aware of. And it's just weird. It's just weird to be there. So that was partly why I quit. But also, again, I was just depressed, just generally just depressed, and I couldn't figure out what the meaning of anything was. If I look back at it now, I think I was asking myself, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing these acting roles? And everything is these were my constant thoughts about everything I was doing at that time. What everything is pointless, everything is impermanent. You know, we're all gonna die anyway. It's all futile. You know, it's a very nihilistic approach to everything. And I was just thinking, what's the point? All the enjoyment always gets sapped out of everything anyway. You know, there's never any lasting happiness in life, right? So I couldn't understand, you know, what the meaning of it all was. And basically I just didn't have the perspective to just say, it's just fun. You know, it's fun and it's learning and it's fun. There doesn't have to be an extra meaning of it other than that. But I was all very philosophical and nihilistic about it all, like pessimism and about it all. So, but thinking about it now, though, interpreting it in a different way, I think the reason why probably, if I look at it from a different perspective, I think the reason why I was depressed about that particular place and why I was there was because of the situation of it. Like, I was with a load of younger people. I didn't really fit in there. And it's kind of like it was a step back for my life. So I think that is a depressing thing. That's the reason. The real reason was not all the thinking reasons that were in my head. It was the feeling reason, or the more life path type of reason. The reason I was depressed was it was a step back in my life. I was in a situation that was inappropriate for me. It was age inappropriate for me, right? And also in the context of what I had already done, it was inappropriate because I'd already done stuff that was equivalent to that thing. I'd already got an A-level in drama. You know, that doing a BTEC in performing arts was like only very slightly more credit, if you like, than doing an A-level. So it's like, this doesn't make entire sense. So I think that's why I was depressed about that in particular, because if I look at it more objectively and I look at it in the context of my life as a whole, it wasn't right for me. So the depression was telling me this isn't right for you. And so I quit. So I obeyed, you know. I mean, depression is quite a good thing in a way because it really stops you from doing anything that hurts you, because you're already hurting enough as it is, you know. You're already feeling crap. So if you start moving towards things that have got emotional pain associated to them, or you find yourself in an emotionally painful situation, then your depression will just go, I cannot move. I physically cannot move because I'm so depressed. So, you know, you just don't end up going into things, and your depression votes for you, basically. You know, your depression says, no, I'm not doing it because it's too much and it's wrong. And I don't feel like it and it's not right. So the depression just goes and stops you from doing all those things that are not right for you anyway. Well, that's what I think anyway. I think the depression is a sign. Depression tells you to stop doing something and to reevaluate your relationship with something, or make changes about it, you know, because it could be the way you're doing something, or where you're doing it, or the people you're doing something with, or the people who you are associating with, whatever. But depression is a sign that stuff is just starting to go off course. So, you know, that's why I'm depressed. Well, I was depressed when I started the video anyway. And I think that what the depression is telling me at the moment is it's actually about the doing of more work. So of the nature of like actual artwork and doing of new creation. So no more writing of new books for a while, for the moment, you know. No more drawing of new artworks for a while, for the moment. I think possibly what the depression is telling me to do is, instead of focusing on creation, focus on promotion. That sounds good. Because I've already got a hell of a lot of stuff that I can promote. And I think the depression is saying, look, man, you've done this for a number of years now. You've grinded yourself into the ground doing the creation of things. Now you need to businessize it, businessitize it, right? Monetize the damn product and shift your focus, because this creation stuff is draining now. You're overdoing that. That's what this depression is saying to me. It's saying, like, the reason you feel depressed is because you've been doing it for so long and you want to give it up. You want to have a break because you've done enough. Your depression is saying you've done enough on that now. Stop that. Because you're now pushing against. You're just resisting something else that you need to do. So I think that what I need to do is now start focusing on promotion instead. Because it's a break as well. It's something different, It's something different from creating. As fun as creating stuff is, and as satisfying as it is, it's draining as fuck. Because I have to go into my emotional body. I have to like dig up stuff. I have to conjure up ideas, and it's not like I just sit around waiting to get an idea. I have to fucking work at it as well. It takes effort. It's not just like, oh, it's fun, happy, creativity. Yeah, it's fun, and I wouldn't do anything else. But it takes energy. It's not like it's infinitely energy producing. It's not like, I sit there and draw, and you can just draw for 3 days straight and never get tired or never get drained or never experience emotional exhaustion. Oh, you're baby, you've got a fun lifestyle. Yeah, but I have to work at it. It's still work. I think sometimes people have this impression of me that, because I've chosen to do this following of my dream, that I no longer work, I no longer kind of do anything, or that I no longer experience stress, that, your parents will provide for you anyway, you don't have to worry about anything. Do you know how hard it is to have hardly any fucking money because your parents fucking provide for you? And like how difficult that makes your relationship with your parents and your family somewhat, and to be the one in the family who doesn't have a job, that's not an easy position to be in. So don't take that tone with me, okay? This has not been easy. So don't think that because you just doss around and just write songs and draw pictures, okay? Like, I still have maybe as difficult a life as some other people who are having a normal 9-to-5 job. I still have the stress. I have the stress of other things instead. I've got the stress of, what am I doing with my life? I don't have any money. The stress of things like, can I afford to buy my own materials for the work that I'm trying to do? I got different stresses, okay? So it's not. Don't think that just because I'm doing this creative life and it is what I want to do in my dream, and then it's my passion and stuff. Don't just sort of cast me off as, he's flimsy and he's not doing, he doesn't have a real job or anything. This is as real as any job, if not more real than any of the jobs I've had, because it actually means something to me. And there's more potential for me to fuck it up as well, I suppose. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just a little bit. I just hate it when people think I'm a layabout or something, or that my life is less valid, or sometimes I have the feeling they might be jealous of me because they haven't decided to live their life on their terms, and I have. But then that's just like my arrogance, really, about people are jealous of me. But maybe they are. Maybe people do get jealous of me. But I just want to say, look, it's not like this happened overnight either. That I had to go through a hell of a lot of fucking really shitty experiences to even know that this is what I wanted to do, and to even have the balls to try and do it. So, like, don't cast me off as, he has a laugh. He's just having a laugh all the time. Yes, I'm having a laugh, but don't think that it's not hard work as well. I do work at this stuff. This is a valid occupation. Whether or not I earn money, it's still valid that I'm contributing in some way and I am creating and being productive. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Uh, okay. So yeah, so after I did the guitar teaching business, I I was looking for like kind of wanting to get a normal job as well at that time in my life. So this is between the years 2008 and 2013. It's interesting. There's eights and 13s. Now we're on an 18. Does that mean anything? 13. 2008 to 2013 is 5 years. 2013 to 2018 is 5 years. Maybe I'm working by some kind of algorithm. Anyway, so yeah, from the year of 2008 to 2013, I was doing the guitar teaching business, and I was having my band, running my band, doing gigs and rehearsals. Second band now I'm talking about, the band called Wilson, not the band called Silent Dawn. That was a long time dead. And band called Wilson during that time period. And then I was trying to like get normal jobs as well. So I worked. What did I work? Well, I was trying to work in the sales field for a bit. Oh man, I did. I worked with a coach, like a life coach person, um, as a sales representative for one of her marketing coaching programs. So it just sounds all very strange. All those words. Working with a coach as a sales representative for a marketing coaching program. It's just all very weird. It's like corporate and strange sounding. Why am I doing that? Why are those words associated with me? Doesn't make any sense. But at that time, I was really I was really striving to be normal. I wanted to have a normal life because I'd just come out of hospital for a mental health problem, which is like the most unnormal thing I could think of. And it just felt like I'd gone through a whole load of stuff that it had disrupted the flow of my life because it had actually taken me out from my life for a significant period of time, where I didn't have any job, I wasn't doing anything really to contribute to society or anything like that. So it disrupted my actual work life. And it also disrupted my living situation. So it was a whole big mess, and it was not normal. In that it wasn't a normal job. I didn't have the things that a normal lifestyle entails. For example, a girlfriend, a stable job, and a decent living situation. Those things were all out the window during my psychosis period. So I was really craving to be normal and to fit in, because I felt like I uh, I felt like I'd been stigmatized somehow, like I'd stigmatized myself, or that the system had put its stigma on me, about having a mental health problem. So I was really trying to fight to regain my own sense of normality and regain my sense of fitting in with society. And the way that I was trying to do that was by trying to claw back having a normal job and a normal life. So I I was trying to get normal jobs. So I did this sales representative job for I don't know, a couple of weeks or a few weeks and stuff, and I was just like, I can't do it. It's not working. And where am I going to get the money from? Like the the coach who I was working with, it was all very slow, and I didn't get paid anything, I don't think, from that. And although she was enthusiastic about having me as a representative for her, it just something felt weird about it. I don't know. I didn't like it, so I quit that. What else did I do? I went to work for a furniture company in Maidenhead. I was there for a month. I was an admin person, so I was basically in the office. I was the only person who really organised anything, honestly. I don't know what the other people did. Apart from the sales team, they were doing stuff, yeah. Um, but I was I was the organiser of most things, in terms of the workflow of what needed to be done between the factory that was actually making all the stuff, the people who in the factory who were making all the stuff, sorry, and the sales team. So I was this middle person who just kind of organised everything, and the managing director just sat there reading the newspaper. Oh, like a dick. So, and made me screen all his calls when he wasn't doing fucking anything, and that really got to me. Honestly, that really got to me because I just couldn't lie. I couldn't. He wanted me to say that he was unavailable. I'm thinking, dude, you just sat there staring at your screen like this with your feet up. Yeah, okay, he didn't have his feet up, but he was just basically reading the news. He was just sitting there reading the news. You're not unavailable. You're not in a meeting. And he said, "Oh, 'cause he was Irish." He said, "Oh, tell him I'm tell him I'm oh man, tell him I can't do it. Tell him tell him I'm unavailable." That's terrible. Tell him I'm unavailable. Ross, tell him I'm unavailable. Right? Tell him I'm in a meeting. Right? Tell him I'm in a meeting. That's the best I can do right now. I don't know what that is. That's weird. And then I get customers calling me up, having issues. So I was customer service. I was like orchestrating all sorts of stuff, making orders and chasing. People were chasing the company for money as well that hadn't been paid. I kept getting this one particular guy call up from this company who the company I was working at hadn't paid them, hadn't paid him specifically, and he kept calling up like every day, maybe a couple of times a day, to ask for him to be paid like £3,000 that he was owed from jobs done. And then we were like putting through new jobs through his company, and he hadn't been paid for previous jobs that like were starting to mount up. And he was like, meh. And I had to both call him to put jobs through him, and with the knowing that we hadn't paid him shit. So, I was like, and he kept calling up going, "Oh, can I speak to Anthony?" Oh yeah, I'll just say, "Can I speak to Anthony about the money?" And it was like, and I had to lie, cover Anthony's ass, about the fact that the money wasn't there, or we couldn't pay him or something. And oh yeah, so basically Anthony was just putting off and putting off and putting off paying people who he'd had business from, which was, I just felt that was wrong. I just felt like you're just pissing people off doing that. And then I had customers coming in, as in customers calling me up and complaining about bits and bobs, which was not good. And then they're having to go at me personally for the fact that stuff I haven't even done has gone wrong. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I've only just started working here. Like, I'm new here. I'm not aware of the situation that has happened previous to this, and no one's told me either. Oh, these are the kitchens and these are the issues or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm just getting people around and people calling me up and having a go at me. But the main thing really that got to me on that job was the lying about him being unavailable. I was just like, you fucking dick. I've sat here and I have to cover for your ass while you sit there and just like read the paper. And people want to speak to you. And sometimes important people who you owe money and you don't want to speak to them, and you put me in front of them instead so they can have a go at me instead of them having a go at you. You twat. So I just, I don't know what I did. I probably just walked out or something. I don't think I walked out. I think what I did was I locked up, went home, and I was like, I'm not going back. And then I went back to give them the key back. But I can't remember exactly how I communicated it with them, but I just said something like, look, I can't do it anymore. And also, you know what it was? I got my paycheck through. Now, I think I was only paid for about 2 weeks of the work because of the way that the cycle of the months worked. So I had done a month's work, but I only got paid because, you know, you get that week in hand or whatever it is. I forget the fucking terminology now. Week in lieu, is that a word? There's a week missing, and then I don't know. Maybe I got paid for 3 weeks, but it was really low. It was like £328. And I looked at it, I was like, you mean I've been sat here lying to customers and covering this arsehole's butt cheeks with lies, you know, and having people complain at me and have a go at me personally. And also, one of the guys who worked there was a rumor spreading, manipulative twat who didn't even barely did his job, because he was a son of the managing director. So it's just a fucking layabout. Made me, because I could type quickly, he made me, what did he make me do? He made me like place bets for him or something and type various emails about like side projects that he had going on. There was nothing to do with my actual job. And then he blackmailed me with spreading rumors around or something if I didn't do what he wanted me to do. So that was shit. Plus all the other guys in the office, the sales team, were a bit kind of like dickish, teasing me and stuff about being naive and a newbie and whatever. So fucked the whole thing off basically. But so at that time I was going kind of on and off of job seekers. So every time I get a job, I'd go off the job seekers and then I'd go back on it when I quit the job. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't get sanctioned at that time. Possibly because I was on disability and I was going to a disability representative. Disability on the basis of my mental health past, right? And my mental health current condition at that time. So yeah. And then, so I went to this final one. There might have been another couple of bits of work I did in between that time. I remember I worked for a friend of mine, a musician friend. Did a couple of bits of IT work for him, cash in hand. It wasn't cash in hand actually. I was paid by bank transfer. Yeah, but then so I don't know. The last job that I did was the Premier Inn on the 9th and 10th of October 2013, roughly 5 years ago. And because the reason I chose that job to even apply for was because of the waitering work that I'd done previously in the Outback Steakhouse, and I'd done silver service waitering and kitchen type work off and on through agencies, specifically Blue Arrow Catering. Got me a lot of work for a period of time. It had been off and on for a long period, working with agencies. Yeah, mainly Blue Arrow, but I think I did a couple of other bits as well. Oh, and I did some other admin type business roles, business admin type of roles through another agency called Business Backup. And they were all right, but they were very, very pressuring. That's the thing with agencies. They get very pressuring about making sure that you do the job. And I don't think they really are built. Honestly, I don't think the workplace is really built for mental health stuff, or it wasn't during my day. The workplace really had a very low tolerance of mental health as being a real thing. And my thing was anxiety and depression and like panic attack type of things at that time. Stress attacks, panic attacks. Right? I felt claustrophobic about jobs. Yeah. So I did a good bit of work actually for 3 weeks at a place called Allied Bakeries, which is where they did made all the breads. Hovis, no, maybe not Hovis. I can't remember exactly which ones they were. I think Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Warburton's, maybe Kingsmill. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, they made a load of breads there. And I just had to do bits and bobs of data like transferring numbers from this thing to that thing. And that was good work. You know, quite enjoyed that. But then for some reason things got hard there, and the stress levels started to rise up at a certain point. And I'd already been asking for help a lot, but now the person who I was asking for help for, she was stressed, and all the people were stressed, in fact. And I'd completed all my work, and then I'd been given this massive task that I just like, what? I do not understand this at all, and I don't know where to go to help. And everyone else is stressed, and there's this one annoying woman who was over the other side of my table who would just be constantly arranging. She was just constantly arranging her personal affairs through on company time, like, and just had the most irritating, whiny voice. And I don't think she ever did any work. I think she was just arranging her fucking personal life on company time. So she was annoying, and that got to me. Oh yeah, and then, man. So I was trying to hit on a couple of the girls in that office as well. The first one, I was giving her lifts to and from work for a week or two. And she kept like saying, blah, blah, blah. She was trying to hint that I wasn't interested by deflecting me onto this other girl who worked in our team. And I was like, do you know what? It's okay. I get it. I know you're not interested. And actually, I don't want to drive you to work anymore, because I drive you to work in the morning and you're miserable and you just sit there in silence. And so you're just kind of using me and you're just being miserable and you're not being conversational. You're just sat there like a miserable twat and then just being miserable. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not picking you up and taking you home because you just sat there being miserable. And when I take you home, you just you're just like deflecting me, or you're trying to sort of constantly make it known that you're not interested in me. So just fuck off, you know. So I just said, nah, that's it. You know what? I've tried hitting on you. It didn't work, and now you're just using me. So yeah. So I just told her, like, that's it. I'm not taking you in anymore. So that put a tension between me and her. I mean, she wasn't in my team specifically. Like, she was like from another part over there in the office. So I didn't have to work directly with her very often. But it was just a bit kind of, oh God, what have I done? I've made a stupid fucking boo-boo there. And then there was this other girl who, I swear, she was hitting on me. She used to come over to my terminal, come over to my terminal and like lean over me and like kind of rub herself on me a little bit, I suppose, and just sort of like lean her boobs over me and stuff. I'm like, okay. And then after work, I remember meeting her at the train station or something and trying to chat her up, and she was just like, oh, about it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You flirt with me all day. You come and lean your stinky armpits and boobs all over me and rub yourself on me. And then when I try and talk to you outside work, you're like, meh. So that was bollocks. And then, but the main thing with that one was, there was partly the woman situation that I'd kind of put myself in a stupid situation by trying to flirt my way around the office and being rejected twice. And then, so that was embarrassing and awkward, and I sort of made it hard for myself in that sense. But then my responsibility level was starting to be raised beyond what I felt was my capability. So I had all this stuff to do that I just didn't know how to do anymore, and didn't know who to ask because everyone was too stressed and did not appreciate being asked anymore. So I was like, and I just had a panic attack basically. And I felt like I couldn't go back, and I just didn't go back. Yeah, I did eventually answer the call from the agency to like ask me what the hell's going on. What are you doing? Why didn't you come in? And you could have told us. And now that makes us look bad and stuff. I'm like, so as if I don't have. So I got my own issues to deal with. Now you want me to deal with your emotional problems and your financial problems. And does anyone actually care about my fucking feelings here? No. So that's what I mean. Like, I don't think the workplace is really cut out, or it wasn't cut out for mental health type of stuff at that time. Because I didn't feel like I could say, oh, I've got depression and anxiety and I might have a panic attack and quit at any moment. So I just thought I'd let you know in advance, because I wouldn't have got the fucking job in the first place, would I? If I say like, oh yeah, I'm quite unreliable, because in the interview, oh, what's your one weakness? Well, I tend to quit jobs every 5 minutes. Oh, right, yeah, we'll get back to you. Okay, anyway. So, yeah. So I quit that one. Oh, God. And then the final one, as I said, because I was like back on job seekers after that one. So the job centre was like, they really fucking push you, don't they? They say, you've got to do 37 hours worth of 37.5 hours worth or something of job hunting, and you've got to note it all down in the system, and you've got to like go to interviews and call up people and make applications and all this stuff, and everything's got to be noted down and it's got to be verified, because you've got to treat your job seeking like a job itself, so that you're like earning your £12 £12 a day, not £12 a day. You earn your £73 a week. £73 a week. You have to do 37 hours worth of job seeking. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. That's the lowest paying job ever. Yeah. In a way, you're being employed by the job centre. So they're paying you to seek your own work. Bizarre. Yeah, so that was pressure. So I had to go to those meetings, and they check up on all your activities and that. And I'm not the kind of person who could lie. That's another aspect of my character, which is that I can imagine that a lot of people will just fudge their things and say, meh, 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 meh. I've done 37 hours of applications. Here are the company names: badgerbadger.org, hamster.com, Fish Catering Limited, uh, egg removal services, admin assistant job. Okay. Hairdressing company.com. Hair cleaner. I think I assume that people just like, blur the truth and just add extra things to make it look good. But for some reason I wasn't that. I just sort of don't feel right about fudging things. So if I hadn't done the stuff, I would say I didn't do it. And if I had, then I'd say I did do it. But I was not one to sort of go in there and lie. And I actually kind of got in trouble for telling the truth. Where in another situation, I think other people would have lied. So they pushed me into applying to loads of jobs, and one came up for the Premier Inn, which is nearby, and I actually thought it could work. I thought I was up for it, I had like 2 or 3 different advisors. I had like the disability guy, had this guy from the Shore Trust, who was supposed to be helping me with like extras, interview skills, potentially money for work clothing, stuff like that. As I said, I got the disability guy who's more of a like coach, just helping me, kind of helping me emotionally and encouraging me and motivating me and stuff like that, and to help me more holistically with my life, to know different services to be in contact with about various issues. Like at that time, my parents and I were having a really difficult time as well. So he helped me to look at other housing alternatives, for example, and put me in touch with shelter. Might have put me in touch with some counselling services. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, he was a decent guy. He was a helpful guy. And then I had my actual signing on person, I think, who was a different, or maybe it's different times. I don't know. Fucking job centre, man. It's just a mess. Okay. Anyway, so I got the gig. I got the job at the Premier Inn. The interview went quite well. I think I stood out in the interview. I mean, I was the only one who got the job from that set of interviewing. So when I quit, that must have been annoying for them because they'd done a whole couple of days, well, 1 day's worth of interview to get me, and there were loads of other people there. So maybe they just called someone else who was also good for the job instead of me when I quit. So yeah, maybe it worked out fine. Probably did work out fine, you know. Honestly, I didn't have the emotional capability to fucking care about anyone else at that point because, you know, I was in a different place. I was in a bad place. So I did well in the interview. I talked myself up well. I spoke about my skills. I spoke confidently. I behaved well in the team situation. I behaved both as a team player and I both behaved intelligently as an individual. I spoke confidently about myself. I was bright, you know, and so they liked me in the group scenarios and they liked me in the individual interview as well. So I got the job. It was quite a fun day. We did various kind of group bonding type activities, you know, challenges, whatever, which were being observed as to how we interact and how we speak about ourselves and how we play in the team. And I did really well, so I got it. And in a way, that was really cool because I felt like that was a good representation of me at the time, you know. And then when the actual shift started, I was with a manager who I had not met on the training day. Well, we had interview day and then we had a training day, and then I was put with a manager who I didn't have, like, who wasn't there for the training day. So I felt like everything was weird because I thought that the people who were actually training me, who were members of staff there, they weren't outside people, so they were members of the team. But I didn't realise that. So all these people who I'd got to know, I wasn't actually going to be working with them very much. And I had this other manager who was weird, honestly, and who I didn't really like. And also, she just pushed me to do things that I wasn't ready for, without any explanation. She just wanted me to talk about the menu successfully and introduce customers into the place and start working the till. And I'm like, dude, you know, you actually want me to do it now without training me on it first. That's the point. You know, you haven't actually you just put me in a live situation without any knowledge. And if you had given me this situation on a dry run first, if you give me like I don't know, an afternoon with the till, okay, with the layout of the restaurant, because I think the training that I had the day before was nothing to do with my actual job. It was like more sort of about company stuff, like higher level training about company ethics and the structure of the company and just that kind of training, right? And then I was just stuck on the job and expected to do it. And for me, that was really confidence shaking. And maybe that works for some other people, that just helps them to get on it. But I'm like, you're asking me to do things that I have no knowledge about and I have no confidence in. So I felt like shit. I felt awkward, ashamed, low, like I'm bad at the job already. And then I just felt really, really horrible. It was mainly that manager, that specific person. She wasn't particularly negative. She was just too pushy. She just pushed me into situations that I wasn't ready for all the time. And something wasn't right about it. Yeah. And yeah, I just felt really bad that whole time. And customers were seeming to be unhappy with me as well because I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't been shown what I was doing and hadn't been told what I was doing. It was just like, here it is, do it. You're like, what? It's weird because I've been in situations like that before, but there were people who were around who knew what was going on, but it just seemed like everything was off in this particular place. I'd never been, like, I'd done waitering work before at a few other places, and I just kind of, it was run better basically, and I was told where things were and what was going on, and it was fine. And then this situation was just really different, and I think, honestly, I think the situation was odd and bad and a lot worse than had been presented to me during the training day, for sure. And then the interview and training day. And then also my self-esteem was so fucking shot to pieces from all these other jobs that had failed and all the pressures that the job centre had put me through, that my self-esteem in the work environment was just really, really low. So my confidence was down, you know, my sense of reliance on myself and ability to just roll with new situations was down. But the manager really had a big part to play in that because she was just really, really pushy and not listening to me. I was saying, like, look, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and she said, no, 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 I'm not. I can't. I don't know what I'm doing. You haven't told me what. Like, give me a chance before I start pissing customers. I'm pissing customers off because I don't know what I'm doing, and you've just put me in this situation where I'm pissing customers off without any lead-in. All right, give me a bit of leading. Give me like an hour or so I know what I'm doing before I'm just chucked into the lion's den. I don't know. It just wasn't working. Whatever. And then the second shift, right? This was after I'd heard the manager like having a go at another staff member next to me in the little office for about an hour. So I realised this manager is just a really whiny person who is like having a go at another staff member in front of me, which I think is actually that was part of it as well, to realise that okay, so she's going to be whining at me in front of other people as well. It wasn't like in private. She's just going to be. I think she was doing an appraisal. She was doing an appraisal, which was just a kind of whining session from her to another staff member. So she's just going to whine at me, and she's going to do it in front of other people as well. So she's going to shame me. So that was shit. I was sitting there trying to do this online training stuff, and she's there whining at this other staff member in front of me and another couple of people. So you're like, I don't know. It just wasn't cool. Wasn't cool. So anyway, the second day was. Second day, there were short staff in the kitchen, and therefore the kitchen was stressed. Therefore, some orders were slow. It was also busy. Everyone was stressed. It felt chaotic. I still didn't really know what I was doing. I was asked to run food, as in serve food, from the kitchen to the tables, right? I didn't know which tables they were, really. I just felt so shaky. It just felt like everything was going wrong all the time. And the culmination of this whole thing was, it's kind of funny actually, but I was so shaken by this whole thing that I was just clumsy, and I dropped a chicken burger off the plate of an order that was already running late. This order was already running late, and the customer was already pissed at me about the fact that his order was running late, and it's not my fault, right? It's just the kitchen short-staffed and stuff. So this order was running late, And then as I was going to give it to the guy, the fucking chicken burger fell off on the floor. So I felt so ashamed. Shame. Shame was a big shame and depression, that depressing shame of not being good enough and not knowing what I was doing and just feeling like I was completely socially lacking. Completely lacking in that situation. Completely underconfident. This massive shame feeling. Yeah. Biggest shame feeling I think I've ever had on a job. I don't think I've ever done a job so badly in my whole life. Chicken burger on the floor. And I don't know whether it was exactly right, but it might have been sent back the first time because something was wrong with the order. And then the second time I dropped the burger. So I had to get it remade. And I think that was just the last straw. When I went for my break, I went out to Sainsbury's because it's just around the corner from the Premier Inn. And I had a panic attack, basically. A kind of shame, guilt, depression, panic attack of like, I can't go in, I can't face it, I can't go back in. It's too stressful. And I just paralysed myself. So I did 4 hours of that shift, went to Sainsbury's on my break, which was allowed. And then I think I just kind of went and sat in the cafe and stared into space, like paralysed. Couldn't feel like I could do anything. And I just went home. I was just like, I can't do this. And that was the last real job I had, because everything about the working environment, through the experience that I'd had over that last year or two, was just saying to me, this is wrong. This is wrong for you. This is not your thing. This is not the life for you. Normal jobs, that's not what you're about. You've never been about it. So stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to be normal and be yourself instead. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the moral of the story. Stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to be normal and be yourself instead. I'm going to leave it there because that's a nice rounding off of the story. And I will talk to you again soon.